Do you remember going to the Quran sake market?
Yes.
Did we do that both times?
We did that both times. I just figured that's kind of our tradition whenever we go to Japan now. It's just like,
that's definitely our tradition.
We get there, put the stuff away in our hotel rooms, and we go straight to Quran.
Yeah, we're like, let's book it. We gotta go.
It's such a tradition that I actually get and use coupons from giving them my email.
Nice.
So like
nice.
When we went, we were at Ikebukuro, and I went and I had a specific coupon that was like, we have this limited edition sake, show this email and you'll get it. Mm-hmm. And that's why, like, when we went, I showed them the thing and they were like, oh yeah, hi. And they brought out that specific like cups to us where like Quran Sake Market's this amazing place where like there's coolers everywhere full of sake, and you get cups and you fill them up and you taste it and you're drinking the whole time, and you get to bring your own food. It's self-serve. It's weird. They've got heaters. Most of it's chilled. It's so good.
Yeah.
But in this place where you pour your own and it's self-serve, they still have some that are like limited edition that they pour and bring to you, and so we got to experience
like it's not
that.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we highly recommend
we go so enough
place.
that like sign up for their email list. It's fantastic. And we've tried other types that are actually pretty decent. I don't even remember what it was called, but we went to one in Osaka because there's not a Quran sake market in Osaka, but there's a same basic idea in Osaka, and we were able to go and the big thing there, they had like tempura fish and everything. It was like really good. So like they had some food items. That was the big difference there that I would say. But smaller overall,
like,
but
we're here for the sake.
Yeah,
let's be real.
Good.
Yeah,
Delicious sake. Great. That's what I want.
Still great.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when we went in the wintertime, I think that was literally one of my favorite trips because it's one of the most unique trips that we've ever had.
Oh, totally.
Like
it was beautiful.
Right? Like the winter snow and like just seeing it piled up high, and we were driving. When I say we, Blaine was mostly driving through the winter snows of Japan. Thanks for being a lovely chauffeur. You're incredible.
Love driving.
Claps for Blaine. Way to drive.
Deja vu, I just been in this place before. Higher on the street, and I know it's my time to go. Calling you, and the search is a mystery. It's so hard when I'm trying to be me.
Hilarious. So good. But yeah.
We'll have to show Kelsey what that means.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means. I'm like, I just assume we're dancing now. So I'm just.
It's from Initial D.
It's an anime. It's an anime about drifting down the mountain.
Yeah.
Like we did when we were in BA.
Oh yeah.
You remember where the like. So this trip, we drove all the way to Furano and back.
Which is like the middle of Hokkaido.
The North Island.
You go all the way
went
down
to a place
on a ferry
that like
this way.
2% of all people who travel to Japan go where we went. So
and that's why we had to go there also.
Super unique and super snowy. And like when we went to pick up our car and I told him when we were going,
he was like,
they were like, Yuki desu ne. And I was like, yeah, it's snowing. Like of course it's snowing. I know how to drive in the snow. Just give me the car. And they were like, no. We need to put snow tires on the car. And so they actually had a Honda Fit that had snow tires on it.
It was such a tiny car.
It was a Honda Fit. Like people know that's an American car. People know what that is. And so we took a Honda Fit with snow tires all the way to the middle of Furano.
Tokyo.
And yeah, no, it was a ton of fun to drive. But the snow in some of the places up in like BA and Furano was so much that you couldn't actually see the road. There was no road. There was no lines. It was just ruts, and you were just like, "This is my rut. Here I go."
Yep.
And like literally like a wall of blizzard in our faces.
I could feel Katey and Kelsey like
tensing on their car.
They're like, absolute like just let me live. Like that's all I could feel it as I'm driving, and I'm literally driving like this is amazing. Like,
and we're like we can't see literally 5 feet in front of us.
Holding on to our luggage in the back like.
Yeah, you were definitely stuck in the back there. And
But
we'll
never forget those. It's really
after
cool.
we pet the foxes, we went to the
Just glaze over that way, don't you?
Yeah, after we pet the foxes.
After
we
we
pet
held
foxes.
and pet
normal driving in
foxes.
Minnesota.
Yeah, that doesn't. Claps for Bill for driving in the snow.
We went to Geens and Onsen, and that's what like the start was, where I was like, oh, this is gonna be like, because the guys were like, oh, you need snow tires, and I was like, I don't need snow tires. What are you talking about? But like going to Geens and Onsen, and after the road had been plowed, and they had basically had created like 12-foot walls of snow on either side of the road. And it was like pitch black, and we're driving in this little tiny Honda Fit down the road to get to this onsen that's just at this tiny little village, tiny dinky thing. I was like, oh, this is like real snow driving. This isn't just like, oh, it's snowing like here in Washington, where I'm like, yeah, I could drive anything in the snow in Washington.
So much snow. It's like literally like insane. A story and a half of snow on the sides of you where you're driving.
It was insane.
And you just pray that like no one's really coming up that fast this way, like around a corner or something, because you can't see them literally coming.
Well, you're just hoping they stay in their lane. You're like, okay, here's a corner. I'm gonna stay off to my side. They stay off to their side. We'll be okay. But that was one of those like insane moments.
But I will say we never got it. And we've never been in any accident, even really had like a thing happen. Honestly, like get stuck or anything like that. So we're super blessed.
Yeah.
I will say one of the worst moments on this trip. I was like reminiscing with Kelsey earlier. It's that we had to take a ferry from the top of the main island of Japan, from Aomori to Hakodate to Hokkaido, and that is the first time I've ever been boat sick in my entire life, and it was so
it's funny because I've been boat sick plenty, but
I never get it. I don't know. Like it's just like a big boat. Like literally, we're like crashing waves, and the whole boat
it's
is
an ocean
sloshing,
ferry, so like all the cars are locked down. The funny part is the bathrooms have like a big bucket sink, and then the normal sink.
For you.
Yeah.
How nice! Like, I wasn't expecting that. I was just like, I'm just gonna go to the toilet. Like hover over a toilet. That's gross. It's kind of like a public toilet too. Yeah. But it's like literally like kind of like a urinal looking thing.
It's a massive like utility sink for like, vomit. Like,
yeah, and it's like waist high though, so obviously you could try to pee in it if you wanted to. But like he's like, wow, and it's like got like a hose thing right here. I'm like, this is genius. They know. Japan ingenuity. So genius. Kanpai Steam. Thanks for the bidding. Can you say Dramamine? Yes.
Oh.
I didn't think I would need it because I've just never been boat sick before.
Well, and I wonder,
have you ever? Assuming I'd be fine.
Have you ever been on a boat out in the open water before?
Like the ocean? No. But like, I mean,
You've only been on a lake boat before, right?
Yeah, or river boats and lake boats.
Riverboat, lake boat, yeah. So I would say riverboat, lake boat is so different.
That makes sense.
The first time I did a salmon charter, my dad and I went out to Westport and Westport, and took a salmon charter out. And within like 30 minutes of heading out into the ocean, Westport's actually on the coast, I hurled everything I had. And it didn't help that like we had started that morning by like looking for coffee and not finding any, but then finding we found a roach coach, as we used to call them, a food truck back in an alley.
Genius.
And when we got to there, we were like, hey, do you have coffee? And they're like, yeah, we got coffee. And this lady with like one tooth was talking to us.
You mean one tooth?
And they also had like some food. So I was still pretty young. So at the time I was drinking mochas. If I didn't think the place had good coffee, I would get a mocha. Because they're like, it's kind of hard to mess up milk, chocolate, and coffee. Like, you're not going to screw that up.
Yeah, you'll cover up.
And so my dad got his espresso, and then we also... We got a Jimmy Dean like breakfast. He was like, "Oh, you guys have breakfast sandwiches?" He's like, "Yeah, we got breakfast sandwiches." And so she like pointed to her like her husband back there and was like, "Put one in for this boy." And like, so we got this breakfast sandwich. And we get out to the boat while it's still in the dock, and my dad is like, "I can't eat this." He's had like 2 bites, and he throws out one of the pieces of bread, and it there's seagulls everywhere, and as it flies through the air, they fly away from it, which isn't what seagulls do. And then it hits the water, and immediately this oil sheen just starts to spread, and it looks like you need to shut the docks down. Like, that place has gotta go. And so we got out on the water, and I was like not feeling good after that like mocha. I was like, there's just something wrong. So I just hurled, and I was like, oh, it's so much better. And my dad was laughing at me, and then hurled like 2 minutes later.
And you're like,
it's like, yeah, that was not a great idea. We should not have stopped at Mysterious Roach Coach.
oh, nope.